We're here at Murrisk Abbey, and Chris Grady is here with us, and we're here, I suppose, to acknowledge all those gone before us on this side of Westport, and to honour the great fishing tradition in Murrisk. Chris, I know that you're writing a book, almost finished, on the history of the fishing tradition in this great village. And, you know, it's good to put on record too, of course, the thanks of everybody in the area of Westport and further afield. Thanks to the people of Murrisk for being such wonderful guardians of Kirkpatrick. And in saying that, we also honour all those gone before us. Think particularly of our lovely friend, our great friend Johnny Groden, this afternoon as well. Chris Grady.
On behalf of the people of Murrisk Development Association, it's a pleasure to welcome the Cobies here to the Augustinian Abbey that was built here in 1457. It was under the auspices of the Augustinian friars, and they interacted with the local community for many years and taught the local community new methods of fishing and farming, as well as educating them in different languages. And Grania Whale, as it's believed, was baptised here and was educated here. Down through the years, there's been a strong tradition of fishing in the locality, in the entire Club A area, and traditionally the Club A fishery encompassed an area from Old's Head to Acklehead. And back in the early 1800s, it's believed there was about 5,500 people engaged in fishing in all of the Club A area. Notwithstanding that, the Murrisk fishery was renowned right around the country, and at one stage was purported to be as large as the Arklow fishery on the opposite coast of the country. In 1947, one of the older fishermen had decided to sell off his fishing boat. He was 69 years of age and felt that his body couldn't take much more punishment. He had been at sea all his life from the age of 9. This man, Austin Burke, was engaged by the new owner of the boat to take the boat around to Arklow. And Austin had two companions, Jack Kavanagh, who was a seaman on the east coast. He was involved, or seaman on luggers and steamers and rather large ships. And his companion was a man who was handy with engines, a fellow called Tommy Fardell, who came along for the crack. The winter and spring of 47 were very severe, with intense storms, snowstorms, etc., and with snow on the ground right up to the middle of May. They got the boat ready to take around the coast, and they departed Murrisk Pier early at 6:30 on a Saturday morning, the 3rd of May, and set sail for Arklow. Austin Burke, you would have known the coast as far as Slinehead in Galway. He would have known it very well. He had fished it all through his life, and the Jack Kavanagh knew the coast from Arklow as far as Cork, but in between they had no knowledge whatsoever of the coast. The Myra was spotted sailing past Old's Head a couple of hours after leaving Murrisk by a local man, Martin Grady from Murrisk. And later in the afternoon, a fishing boat that had formerly been in Murrisk, the Nebuna, was fishing just off High Island, out from Inishbofin, and they identified the Myra sailing past on its way south towards Arklow. That was the last sighting of the Myra on the 23rd of May by anybody known that would have known the boat. For 3 weeks, when they reached the coast to Clare, they encountered a severe storm, and they struggled all through the Shannon Basin until eventually off the Kerry coast. The storm was so severe that it broke the tiller and rudder on the boat. It swept their spare fuel overboard and tore their sail to shreds. They were then drifting in the ocean. Although they had engine power for a few hours, they had no way of guiding the boat or steering the boat. A further large swell hit the boat off the Kerry coast, and it broke a hole in the bow of the boat, and the engine cut out. They were then completely at the mercy of the gales and the sea, and the drifted at sea for about 3 weeks. They survived on sips of salt water and bits of seaweed that they caught as it was floating by. They drifted out, Austin claimed, about 65 miles out into the Atlantic Ocean, and eventually drifted up the west coast of Ireland, and were sighted off Barra Head on the Outer Hebrides in Scotland on the 23rd of May. Sorry, the 23rd of May, the Friday evening, the 23rd of May, by an English fishing trawler out of Fleetwood called the Egret. They took the 3 men on board. They were in a terrible condition. They were completely dehydrated, and the skipper reckoned that they wouldn't have lasted any more than another 24 hours. Took them on board, and they made a 100-mile dash to Oban in Scotland, where they landed the following afternoon. And Oban had been one of the ports, British ports, that was used during the Second World War. There was still a large gathering of soldiers and Navy personnel in Oban. There was very high security there, and they weren't allowed to leave the Egret until they were interviewed by the chief of police. A doctor obviously had to examine them, and the Admiralty had to interview them as well. But they were taken after that. They were taken to the Royal Highland Cottage Hospital in Oban, where they were nursed back to health, and they returned home to Ireland a week and a half later.
And they survived it all?
They survived it all. Austin, when he came back home, he was treated as a hero. There was bonfires blazing from Westport railway station to Murrisk, and he was a celebrity afterwards. He was feasted by the local council. He had celebrations all over the place. There were celebrations all over the place provided for him. He had an audience with the abbess of Kylemore Abbey, among other personnel, and as I say, he was treated royally. He survived for a further 10 years, and he actually went back to sea, mapping out fishing grounds for the Irish Fisheries Board, or the Department of the Marine, Body Square, for a couple of years after that, before he eventually retired to his little garden and his family.
And he's buried in Murrisk.
Internationally, the story made headlines throughout the whole world at the time, because it was such a sensational survival story.
Yeah. It featured on BBC. It was the lead item on the news for 2 days on the BBC, and Austin was interviewed by reporters from Scottish newspapers and Scottish radio, and he was surrounded by kids from the local schools or local community practically every day, and I got to interview one of those kids, a man called John Boyd, over in Oban in September last year, September 2016. He doesn't have a lot of memories of the actual time because of the gap in time, but he does remember the hullabaloo, as we would call it, around the arrival of the boat in Oban.
So he's buried in Murrisk here?
Buried here in Murrisk, yeah, with his wife Bridget, sorry, his wife, Maria, and he's buried alongside, or very close to his father and mother as well.
Do you remember their names, Chris?
Johnny Burke and his wife Grady.
And was it from what townland within Murrisk were they from?
They were from Ballad, which is
Benatali.
Ballad, which is across the road from the tavern.
Oh,
The
okay.
old post
Oh
office
yeah,
there,
yeah.
And what year did he die?
He died in 1957.
57.
Yeah.
Must be people around to remember him, yeah.
Oh yeah, you know, old Paddy Fry and all those who remember him well, yeah.
It was the good ship Myra that sailed the calm blue sea. A 34-foot fishing boat with but a crew of 3. Our skipper good was Austin Burke, a great mariner was he. 'Twas he who hailed from fair Murrisk to sail the calm blue sea. Those seamen left old Fairclew Bay all on a Saturday. That day for Wicklow they were bound all on the 3rd of May. They barely were a day at sea, a day barely one, until the engine it broke down and they were left with none. The engine broke, the rudder gone, 'twas sure a sorry plight. They searched in vain for many's the hour for any ship in sight. All 16 days they lived out there, those brave men good and true. Salt water was their only drink and seaweed was their food. Now a sorry plight those men were in while on the 20th day. Across the sea, not far from them, the good ship Grady lay. This Fleetwood trawler shipping bound off Barrahead to spy. Oh, the tiny little fishing craft where these 3 men did lie. Cried Skipper Brown, ahoy a boat, fishing bound I'd say. Until the battered spiraled by to the breaking of the day. The little craft with limp white flag, its signal of distress. Brave Austin Burke hung to the mast to shout his SOS. Now safe on board the rescue ship, those 3 brave men did sleep. For God had saved them from their face and from the ocean deep. Oh, it was the good ship Myra that sailed the calm blue sea. A 34-foot fishing boat with but a crew of 3.
Well, come on,
It was about